Hey, I'm Brian Hours from Greenstar Energy, and I'm just going to show you what a typical tune-up is, or should be, by a AC company that tunes your air conditioning up. Ours is $50, and as you'll see, and I demonstrate, is far and above better than anybody else's. And if they don't do what I do, you should be asking them why. I'll show you our actual chart that I go off of, that I put everything down. Your air conditioning needs to be a perfectly tuned inside and outside unit to work right. And that's everything from the outdoor temperature to the indoor temperature to the humidity inside your house to the refrigerant, what is called superheat and subcooling. That is the difference between the condensed temperatures. And everything needs to be calculated to make sure it's tuned in right. So first thing we did, this is my house, because it normally takes me between an hour and a half to do a typical tune-up. So we're trying to do this quick so you can see this. So everything's hooked up and everything stripped down to where I can do it. First thing we did, we ran the unit, made sure it ran, it did. So what I do is I come to the unit and I start testing the outdoor electrical parts. First thing we're going to test is the capacitor on your condenser unit. What this is, it's about 35.5 microfarad. It's kind of like a storage unit that helps your compressor run better and your fan. It's a storage of electric, and it just makes it run more efficiently. So your compressor runs on the 35 microfarad, your fan runs on 5 microfarad. So we're going to test that right now. Turn our gauge on microfarads. So what we want to do is go to the common side and go to the hermetic side. That's your compressor. And get a reading. And we're getting 34, 32. It gives you a 6%. Now, if it was lower than 6% of 35, like if it would have read like 30, 29, that's telling me that it's weak and it really needs changed. If you don't want it, I just give you that option, but it's going to go bad. And then what we do is we'll read the fan side. And that's reading exactly 5 microfarads where it should be. So this capacitor is good. So what we'll do is we'll hook it back up. Okay, what I also do is I test the contactor to make sure the contactor is good and not getting weak. Contactor's in good shape. Make sure everything's cleaned out, no bugs. Anything that's going to get inside the contactor to keep it from, a lot of times stink bugs or something will get in there and get it clogged up. Everything looks good and clean. I got my gauges on when I'm ready to start out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the basement and we're going to check electric down in the basement. Okay, just want to remind everybody we got specials going on, spray foaming your basement sill plate. The average house, $750 to $1,000, will save you tons and tons of money. Okay, now we're going to go to the indoor furnace, check it for electric. Okay, what I like to do is I check the indoor fan, make sure there's no play in it. If you got too much play, your fan's going bad. Plus I feel inside the blades to make sure the blades are good and clean. They'll get dirty, way down the fan, and your fan eventually will burn up. Mine's clean as a whistle because I pull mine out every year and I clean it. I make sure it's spotless. Now your indoor unit has a capacitor too. What we'll do is remove the leads and we're going to check it. It's a 10 microfarad and it's 9.73. So the capacitor down here is in good shape. What we're going to do is hook this back up. Make sure everything, all your wires and everything are good and tight. Everything's clean. I don't see any burn marks. I check individually. Make sure the leads are on the right way. Cooling, you want on high speed. Heating, you want on low speed. And that's the way the fans are set up. Everything's good, everything's clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a dry bulb and a wet bulb, dry bulb here, dry bulb there, after the unit's been running for a while, and then we'll calculate everything to see how good the system is. Trying to do this as quick as I can. I know you guys don't want to get bored, but like I said, it normally takes me an hour and a half to do a tune-up to make sure the system's done right. Okay, now we're going to go back upstairs and we're going to get the unit started. My meter over to the temperature probe. We got to take a lot of temperature readings. Trying to skip ahead. Okay, we're going to put the disconnect back in, fire the unit up. And what we want to do is we want to let the pressures get where they want, let the system to run through good 5-10 minutes. So then I can get an amp draw. Now you want to see what the amp draw is to the compressor motor and the amp draw is to the fan motor. Compressor amp draw about 5.33. Draw about 0.5 to the fan, which is good. The compressor's rated at 12.3 amps. If it was higher, like 14 amps, that's telling me that the compressor's going bad. But the amps are good. We're going to let it regulate the pressures. Now this is what 9 times out of 10 people don't do. They don't calculate the system correctly. Okay, the amps. Just writing the amps down for everything. The fan amp. 5. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to let the pressures equalize a little bit. What you got to do is you got to get the outdoor dry bulb temperature, just what the ambient temperature is outside. .78 degrees. And we write that down. 78 degrees. Now we're going to go back downstairs and we're going to get the wet bulb. So I'm hoping it's down there. Hope I left it. And let's go downstairs and get them readings. Now we'll get the dry bulb. That's your house air. This is the return, and this is your supply. Your A coil is right inside here. So the dry bulb is actually your house temperature. Stabilize. .71 degrees coming in. Dry bulb. Now leaving. .56 degrees. Okay, then we want to get a wet bulb temperature. That's the humidity, the moisture. Bulb 62. Now we're going to go back up and we're going to check our pressures on the air conditioner. Okay, now your suction side pressure, we're at 75, 5 psig. Your liquid side, we're going to say it's about 187. Now you got to get your temperature off your suction line. That's your vapor line. We're going to say that's about 45 degrees. Now we're going to get temperature off of your liquid line. Most companies would come in, put lines on. If it's your R22, which this is an R22 system, if there's any place between 55 and 80, and I've seen a lot of companies, if you're any place between 160 and 250, they're like, okay, you're good. They hose off your condenser and out the door they go. But this is how you actually calculate it correctly. Your liquid line is 77. Got all the figures down. Now, what we do is we calculate it, which the app is on my phone, and since I'm filming it on my phone, I guess we can't use it, but we punch in all the numbers, and I've checked the system. It was a little bit low on R22, so I had added it, and it worked out, and I got it to where it was perfect. You want to see your indoor temperature and your outdoor temperature being about 15 to 20 degrees when we took the drive. Got it? Sorry about that. Camera ran out, so I'm hoping to show you the cleaning process. So I got everything buttoned up electrically, all my numbers and everything worked out perfect. I'd tell the homeowner everything's good to go. We had a 15-degree temperature drop. We want at least 15 to 20 return compared to what comes out of the air conditioner, out of the supply trunk. We're hitting 15 exactly. Good superheat, good subcooling. If you have another contractor that does this, make sure you ask them, hey, what my superheat and subcooling numbers were. You know, what's my suction pressure? You know, what's outdoor ambient? And make sure they do it right. If I had to change a capacitor over, I buy Titans. They're American made. I could go downtown Liverpool and get the ones from Mexico and Pakistan, but I drive to Monaca and get these. These will last 10 times longer. And I charge the same, even cheaper than what most people do. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to disconnect my lines and we're going to clean the unit. First you want to disconnect the liquid line. A lot of people don't do this neither. While the unit's still running, the liquid line's disconnected. I want to open up both valves, clear everything out of the hoses so I can get everything, all the refrigerant back in. As soon as they equal out, my hoses are clear. A lot of people just disconnect and then you lose that in the lines. The homeowner does. And disconnect the suction side. Put the caps back on, make sure they're nice and clean. No debris. Now I'm going to pop the disconnect to clean the unit. Now this is something that a lot of people won't do. What they'll do is they'll just hit it with a hose and be done. But you want to shoot it from the inside out, because if you just hit it with a water hose, all you're doing is pushing the dirt deeper and deeper and it's getting clogged up. And this is what makes this is actually where the change of state happens, out in the condenser. So if you keep these coils clean, I guarantee you your air conditioner will run 10 times more efficient. So what we're going to do, we're going to suds it down with good cleaner, condenser cleaner. Okay, now I also, if I find the fins have been bent someplace, straighten up the fins. I've seen it where people's carved their names in it. This all makes a big difference. Keeping this to where the air flows and the change of refrigerant happens. So now I got a jet that shoots it from the inside out. Come around here, Dane, and you can see it. See, that's what you want. You want the dirt to come out this way. There we go. Push all the dirt out. Well, I don't think you guys want to see me finish this, so this is a fast version of how a tune-up should be done to an AC unit to make sure it's done correctly. You got to take a lot of numbers, a lot of figures, a lot of calculations, and normally I gain 5 to 10 degrees sometimes. Might be a half a pound low. 9 times out of 10, even when they put these systems in, they don't put them in correctly. The condensing units are only set up for 15 feet of line set. If it's longer than that, you have to add refrigerant. Most companies don't do it. They just, after they're done hooking everything up, they just open up the lines, and whatever you get, you get. So you might be a whole pound low if it's a real long line set. So yeah, you want it to run the best and most efficient way. You don't want it to keep running like at 58 degrees or 65 degrees coming out of your supply line. That's just going to take it longer to shut off your thermostat. So our goal at Greenstar Energy is to make this thing work the best it's going to work. And for $50, it's the best buy that you can get. I'll guarantee that. All right, thanks for watching. Peace.